Hey guys, it's Heyybritny. Welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, we are going to cover Sha'Carri Richardson and the domestic violence situation with her boyfriend, Coleman. So if you don't know who Sha'Carri Richardson is, she is a track star, a track athlete, and she's been popular probably for the last maybe 5 or so years, and she kind of has this loud and flamboyant personality, especially with the gear that she wears when she is running on the track field. So she's kind of reminiscent of Flojo with how she really just embodies, I guess, Black culture and how she represents herself when she is running. And you can have comments on how she looks, how she has her nails, what she's wearing, her hair, and all of that stuff. But we're not really focusing on that in this episode. We are mainly focusing on the situation that happened between her and her boyfriend. So let's just go ahead and watch the first video. So in this first video, there is no audio, so you can just see what is happening. You can see that he's trying to get away from her and he's kind of moving around. You see that she just punched him there. And I think just before this, I think she body checked him into a wall. Or it may be coming. Yeah, she body checks him into a wall. They, I think, then go off camera in a little bit, maybe. Maybe that was before, I'm not sure. But okay, yeah, so now they're going off camera. She's pushing him out of the frame. They come back into the frame. He's still kind of like trying to separate himself from her, and she's just following him. Like, she won't let him leave. And then he continues walking. She followed him. He's trying to like get away from her, basically. And then she's gonna throw headphones at him. And then at this point, the video is about to cut out. All right, so there's a lot happening here. What I'm really surprised by is how like all of this is happening out in the public eye. Anyone walking by can see the situation happening. And I'm kind of surprised that nobody really intervened. And this is what I was talking about in my last video, where we have a culture of mind your business. So if I'm in that situation, whether I'm Sha'Carri or Kristen, I would want someone to kind of step up and say, hey, you know, you guys got to stop this, or at least try to separate people. I wouldn't want people to just continue walking or mind their business or not really care about something very concerning that they are seeing happening right in front of them, because there would have been people sitting all on that right side where they went out of frame at. There would have been people sitting there. I would assume, if you know anything about how airports are laid out, there's seats everywhere. People are waiting for their flights and all of this stuff. And so this definitely is concerning behavior, because one, it's a woman doing it to a man. She's tiny, she's little, he's much bigger. You could say that he could easily overpower her if he wanted to and really get her to stop what she's doing and restrain her, but he doesn't really go that route. You just see him kind of lifting his hand or his arm to kind of shield himself from her, or at least stop her from making contact with him, and then he uses parts of her body. So he could be a lot more aggressive if he wanted to be, in order to get her to stop doing what she's doing, but he doesn't do any of that. And so I do applaud him in that situation, because he's not doing anything to escalate the situation, make it worse. He's really just trying to get away from her in a way that does as minimal as possible, if that makes sense. So I saw this video maybe a week ago. I'm not sure when it first came out, but I did see the article first saying like, hey, you know, she's arrested, blah, blah, blah. Then this video came out, and then last night I saw the video, I guess, of her speaking with the cop, and I physically got sick. And when the first video came out, I was like, oh wow, this is crazy that this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw how she was talking about the situation with the cop. I just kept watching both videos, and it just made me physically ill, especially with the culture and the climate around domestic violence. Usually it's men assaulting women, but we know that women can do this to men. And just to see how this was done so openly and so publicly is what concerns me the most, because you always wonder, if that's what they're doing in public, what are they doing behind closed doors? So she's definitely the aggressor in this situation. We don't know what happened before to cause this. I believe she said that maybe he took headphones from her or something like that, and it escalated to this point, I guess, over headphones. But then I also read an article where she said that she had videos or footage of him abusing her. And so I don't want to get into that too much just because I don't know a whole lot about that. But what I want to say is that in terms of this whole situation, this is definitely scary for Christian because he's a man. So like I said, he can easily overpower her. But also at the same time, men aren't supposed to hit women. So you don't know what this person's going to do. You don't know how much more escalated it's going to get. And I can't imagine being grabbed from behind, being punched, being body checked into a wall, having something thrown at you that probably effing hurts. So I just can't imagine being in that situation where you want someone to stop whatever they're doing that's hurting you, that's causing you distress, and they won't stop. Like, that has to be the worst feeling in the world. And granted, this is not the worst domestic violence situation that we've seen, but it definitely is troubling and concerning. Okay, so now we're gonna watch the second video of her talking to the cops about everything that just happened.
You know what? Okay. What a relationship is about, but he lied. He's a liar, okay. And that was something that I kind of just grasped and emotionally. I'm just like, bet you do your thing, but you're asking me for things that is within my possession, and for my right, I don't have to give it to you because it's in my possession. But when it comes to the point that I saw that he chose to make it more about the police and things of that nature, that shows that he made a choice. So I just want to be more professional and just come professionally and let you know, like, hey, relationship thing, have no problem, and walking up to you guys. So I'm not hiding. Right. Mm-hmm.
Was there any type of physical assault?
No, I didn't touch him. He didn't touch me. I will be honest.
Hit him with anything?
No, I haven't hit him with anything. Like not at all. He had headphones that were mine, and I just grabbed those headphones, but not physically. If you would like to ask me, you can ask him, but I don't want anything.
I just want to get your side.
Okay, so absolutely. You can ask him whatever you need to ask him. But yeah, you're a coward.
Is it Sha'Carri?
Sha'Carri. Thank you so much, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Sha'Carri. What's your phone number for you?
And like I said, I don't have a problem cooperating because, like I said, it was from a relationship stuff. So that's why I came up
and everything. Do you have your boarding pass by chance? Just so I can just take a photo of that? Just
absolutely, yes. And you can contact me whenever you need to. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Not my boarding pass. That is public. Right here.
Perfect.
This is my boarding pass.
So this is the one that got delayed?
So this is, I want to say my original one, and this one.
That's your new one?
No, this is my original one, and this is the one that got delayed. And then the new one, I think, is in my personal one. But you can take a picture, and I'll look for you for the new one if you don't mind me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Right now, I don't think I have it, but they moved my flight to 10 p.m. if you don't mind. I don't think I just physically have it, but you can take a picture. I don't mind at all.
So last, are you heading back to Florida?
Yes. No. I'm heading to Eugene, Oregon.
Oh, okay. I can probably find it this way.
Yeah, you can find it that way.
It's just to kind of document what's going on.
Please document everything. I have no problem with you documenting anything. And I'm going to do my part so you can do your best, document everything. I would never. If I ever talk to him again, please talk to me. If I ever talk to him again, you punch me in my face. I will never, ever talk to him again. I will never do what you're doing. Hello, hi. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing all right.
I'm good.
Now, okay.
But I have to put down. I'm so sorry you're grabbing me right now.
Yep, you're under arrest.
I'm under arrest right now? What am I under arrest? What am I under arrest for? Christian, are you serious right now? Okay.
You're arrested for assault for
I didn't assault him though.
We have video cameras.
I literally we were having an argument. I'm not resisting, so you don't have to do it harder. Christian, are you serious right now?
So
Christian.
Washington State, he doesn't get a say.
But I understand. We were arguing. But I understand entirely. We were arguing. Okay, I'm not gonna resist. But I'm telling you that we were arguing. I didn't assault him. I didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that you guys are doing this to me and he's the man in this situation, I'm gonna comply. I am. I'm not gonna argue with you at all.
I appreciate that.
But you have me on camera, but at the same time, what he has on camera, I have my phone, shows something different. So if I need to show that, I will.
You have your phone back here.
Okay, but I have my phone that shows something different. But Christian, thank you, Christian.
Don't talk to him right now.
Okay, I won't. Thank you so much, officer. They are arresting me right now, Christian. Sissy, they're arresting me right now. Am I gonna go actually to jail right now?
You are actually going to go to jail.
Wait, but right now,
Yes, it's a physical
I didn't. Can he tell you that I didn't do nothing to him?
We have it on camera.
Christian, are you serious right now?
Okay, so that whole video was just really wild to watch because at the beginning she's very casually like describing the situation, and she's talking about like, I had something in my possession, blah blah blah, whatever. And so you can see at this point that she doesn't really understand the severity of what is happening. So in that sense, you can say that she's not all there in terms of really understanding what is going on. Because what I was going to say is that I really hate when people say when something happens and they're like, oh, I blacked out, I don't remember, blah blah blah. She's either not expecting anything to happen to her because of who she is, she's a famous athlete and all that stuff. She's not expecting something to happen to her because she's a woman in the situation, blah blah blah. And so you can really see that as she's talking and navigating this conversation, she is not understanding that she's the problem, that she's the one in the wrong here, and she's talking about this or explaining everything as if she's the victim and the cops are there to help her when they're actually there to help the boyfriend and to like shut this whole situation down. So I didn't really like how she was just so casually explaining the situation, but it also hinted at the fact that she didn't really have full understanding of what was going on. And then I thought it was really ironic that she's calling him a liar while she's actively lying about what happened, because she knows that they have this on camera, and she's saying, no, I didn't touch him, I didn't hit him. And at first I wasn't sure if she meant like she didn't touch him with her hand because she body tucked him. So like if you can say, hey, I didn't touch him with my hand, blah blah blah, and that would still be valid or make sense, or it would be true. But then when I watched it back, I saw that she may have punched him or slapped him, because you can see her arm go out and then she kind of makes contact with his head area, his face or whatever. So that's why I think at that point she used her hand. So she would have been lying because she, one, did use her hand, and then two, did touch him. You body chucked him into a wall, you pushed him, you shoved him, all of that stuff. So I didn't really understand her saying that she didn't touch him, she didn't assault him. Then she talked about him. I couldn't understand, and the captions wasn't able to catch everything. I couldn't understand when she got to the point where she was talking about him making a choice, and she was saying that it sounded like maybe she was saying that he made a choice to involve somebody else in the situation or whatever. I don't really know, but it's wild that she says he made a choice to do X, Y, and Z, but she's not really understanding that you made a choice to assault him. You didn't have to act like that. If he took something from you, there were other ways to get it back without resorting to intimidation or physical violence to make your point in this situation. Then the other thing that I didn't like was that she was repeatedly talking to Kristen, and she was specifically saying, hey Kristen, are you serious right now? And I know that in some situations the person, the victim, doesn't have to press charges or may not want to press charges, but other people who are aware of a situation, like the cops or whatever, or the DA, they can press charges even if the victim doesn't want to. And I think that's what's happening here, because I believe I read that he didn't want to press charges, and so she's putting the blame on him as if he can control this situation, when really she's the one who put herself in this situation. So I don't like that she's throwing it back on him and making it his fault that this got so out of hand. This situation got out of hand when you were caught on camera intimidating him and physically body checking him, pushing him, and all of this stuff. And so the responsibility is hers alone for her role in what happened here. And I also didn't like the fact that she was putting the blame on him and trying to make him like the aggressor in this situation, because what this made me think of is those situations where you have a boyfriend and girlfriend in a car, the boyfriend gets caught with something he's not supposed to have, and then he tries to make the girlfriend, or he gets the girlfriend to take the charge because she'll get less time, whatever. So that made me think of this situation where she knows she's in the wrong, but she's actively trying to make him the victim, because if whatever happens to him will be not as big of a deal as it happening to her. Because I don't know who Kristen Coleman is. She's the bigger draw in this situation. She's the more public figure in my eyes in this situation. So whatever happened to her should be more severe because she is the bigger name. And so it feels like that situation of her trying to push the blame on him because it won't be as big of a deal for him if he gets saddled with these charges and he's blamed for what happened in this situation. I was looking at the comments of this video and I saw one comment where it was basically like her customer service voice is really crazy. So basically she's speaking properly, she's speaking politely, she's calm, she's not escalated or extra when she's talking to the cops in this situation. But what is wild is that she switches up from being so polite and calm and whatever to the officers. In between her having a conversation with the officers, she's also talking to Kristen, and you can see the switch up. She's crazy, she's aggressive, she's basically verbally assaulting him and bullying him in front of the cops, and then pretending like she's not doing anything. So that was really wild to see, because it reminded me of, say, a black mom, her kids get in trouble and somebody's telling her about what her kids are doing, and she's being very polite to that person. If she's looking at her kids, she might be staring at them or letting them know that they're going to get it when they get home and all of that stuff. So it reminded me of that, and that's even worse, because if this is what happened in public, can you imagine what happens behind closed doors if this is what she's boldly doing in public where other people can see it? And this also reminded me of this book by Kennedy Ryan called The Long Shot, and it has to do with basically a athlete who is, part of the story is that an athlete is abusing his girlfriend, the mother of his child, behind closed doors. He's literally beating her black and blue. He's using all of this stuff, and it's really graphic. It's really horrible. She can't get out of that situation. He hired a bodyguard to keep her trapped in his home, and if she leaves, she has to have that bodyguard with her so she can't escape. So it's a really horrible situation. And there was a scene in the book where basically the girlfriend's trying to get away, and he sets her up and says, hey, she stole all my stuff, she's crazy, I really need to get her back home. And the cops believe everything that he's saying, even though we, the reader, know that he's clearly lying about the situation. And so the most distressing part of this is that because she's a public figure, she can easily get away with this. And if it wasn't on camera, you don't really know how this would have played out, because yes, they may have had eyewitnesses, but again, it would have just been their word against her word. But when you have clear camera evidence of this person doing that, this is really crazy. And she knows that they have camera evidence, camera footage of what she did, and she's still lying and trying to blame it on him. And so that's just really wild. And so I know that we've had different situations of popular, famous, not even super popular athletes, just athletes in general who are in the pros, they're making a bit of money, but there may not be a household name quite yet. So we've seen a bunch of situations where they've abused their partner, they're throwing them around, they're spitting on them, they're punching them, whatever. We've seen situations where they get held accountable and they lose everything, or they've been held accountable and they just lose everything for a little bit, and then they're able to bounce back and whatever. And so I really think that it is important, because she is a woman in this situation, she is a public figure, she is an athlete. They really need to set the tone like, hey, no special privileges here. You can't act like this in public. You can't act like this behind closed doors. This needs to stop. You need to be held accountable for your actions, and you can't just do whatever you feel like doing to someone else. And the other thing that I want to bring up is she keeps saying, we were having an argument. An argument is you verbally going at someone. It's not an argument. It's not you putting your hand on someone. That's a completely different ballgame. That is assault. And if she's saying that whatever she did was not assault, what does she consider to be assault? Is assault when you're actively in a fight and the other person is fighting you back? Like, what does she consider to be assault? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section. And one other thing I want to point out is, I didn't hear it here, I may have missed it, but in an article I read, it did mention again, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I do want to bring this up now. She said that she had evidence of him physically abusing her, and I don't know if she was trying to get him in trouble and say, hey, well, if you're gonna arrest me, you should arrest him too, or if she was trying to say, hey, we do this to each other, basically the scales are balanced, no harm, no foul. So I don't really know what the point of her trying to show that he abuses her too. Like, I just didn't really understand. Like, even if he's abusing you, you need to go to the cops. You need to tell someone so you can get out of that situation. You really should not stay in that situation if someone is abusing you, because they're just going to keep doing it and it's going to get worse. So if this is a abusive relationship that we are just now finding out about, I do think that they don't need to be together. Like, yes, you can forgive people, but you shouldn't tolerate this type of behavior. You shouldn't want to behave in this type of way towards someone someone that you care about and love. I don't think I've seen a domestic violence situation until I moved to New York. I remember walking down the street, and the street is packed. There's people on the street walking towards wherever they're trying to go. And out of the corner of my eye, I don't know if I just saw something move very quickly, and I happened to look, and there were other people looking to see what was going on. And basically, it was this black couple. It was a residential building, and the buildings in this particular building in New York, it had like glass doors so you could see into the lobby, and then there's another door to get into the rest of the building, I guess. And they were in between those two doors, and you can see the girl against the wall. The guy's yelling at her, and then he just throws her, I guess, to the opposite wall, and it's just really crazy. And I've never seen anything like that in person. And again, he's doing this out in the open where anyone can see what is going on. And so I think I called the cops in that situation, because with all of the stuff that I've experienced being in New York and in personal situations that I've had, I would not, and then also after reading that book, Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan, I would not have any tolerance for people who are physically abusive, verbally abusive. Like, that's just not anything that you should entertain or want in your life. And if I were in that situation, I would want someone to help me. I would want someone to call the cops to get this to stop, because again, I can't imagine how helpless you would feel having someone do something to you. You want them to stop and they won't. And just that feeling of helplessness is what makes me sick to my stomach. And so this is not anything that people should be entertaining or playing around with. If you have someone who's abusive to you even once, you should not be with that person, because they don't have any respect for you and they cannot control themselves, and that situation will probably escalate. And so this is really just unfortunate for all parties involved, because Sha'Carri, you should lose everything from this situation happening, and for him to be treated this way in public, regardless of what happened before this, just this one incident, we know that this is not a good relationship if this is how the people are acting towards each other. Okay, so now the third video I want to play is going to be her, I guess, public statement to the public about what happened. I know that she released a written message online. I'll just add that here so that you can look at it, or I'll just add that over here so that you can look at it. And the video that I'm going to play is basically her video statement to the public about what happened. And I really don't like this, but I'm going to play it and then we can talk about it. Okay, so there's a lot happening in that video. I don't really like the way that she gave this apology video. She's smiling too much, first of all, in this whole entire thing. Also, I feel like this was just a bunch of word salad where she wasn't really taking accountability for what she did. Like, she didn't name it, and then she talked about like the support that she was getting, and I don't know if she should be getting support for what she did according to the video. Now, if she is someone who is a victim of domestic violence herself, I do think that that complicates complicates things, but she does need to take accountability for what we saw in the video. The other thing that I don't really like is that she said that she put herself in a compromising position, and I don't feel like compromising is strong enough a word to explain like the severity of the situation, because she put a lot at risk here. One, she's hurting her brand, she's hurting her image. Also, she's signaling to other people that she's not a safe person to be around. What is she going to do when she gets angry? How is she going to treat other people? She's signaling to other partners, future partners, that this is the way that she handles dispute, and are you going to want to get involved with that? And then also, are you a role model for other women? Are you telling and demonstrating to other women how they should act, being that you are a public figure, you are a role model, and you are very influential right now? So I think that compromising is not a strong enough word here. This is a damning situation. This is a scandalous situation. She should be embarrassed by all of this happening. She shouldn't be able to come on camera and smile like everything is fine, as if she is just getting over a cold or something like that, or just getting over an injury. This is a very serious situation, and you put yourself in a very bad light by behaving this way, and then even when you were questioned about it, actively lying, because that speaks a lot to your character. Because I think I would have had more respect for her if she was, when she was talking to the cops, if she was like, yeah, he stole my headphone, I didn't like that, I'm gonna show him what's up. At least she's taking ownership or acknowledging what she did and that she did that intentionally. Here she's just denying that she even assaulted him. She's saying they had an argument as if they just exchanged words, when this got much more physical than that. So I would have just appreciated if she was just honest and said, yeah, I kicked his butt, I didn't like what he said to me, I didn't like him taking my headphones, so I showed him like he's not gonna mess with me, blah blah blah, he put his hand on me before, blah blah blah, so I'm gonna show him that he can't do that, blah blah blah. I would have just liked it if she owned it a little bit more than just completely lying and denying everything and then trying to put the blame on him. And so again, if she is a victim of domestic violence, I think that complicates things a little bit, but just from what we're seeing in these 3 videos that I've showed, it does show her to be the aggressor and her to be the problem child, problem person here. And so I definitely think it's on her to take accountability for that in a much more serious way than I've seen based on the post that I saw and this video that we just watched together. And one thing that I want to add here is that when you go from a situation where you are in a toxic and unhealthy relationship and you have those ups and downs, if you're going from relationship to relationship with those ups and downs, you never really know what stability feels like. And so if you are in a state of feeling secure and safe and stable and you have something like this happening to you, it's very jarring. Whereas if you only know those constant ups and downs, you're going to be numb to something like this happening and you're not going to really see it as being a problem. As someone who has experienced toxic relationships, that was something that I had to learn, because once I had this period of time where I wasn't in relationship and I was able to get back to that stable place, and now I'm working from that stable place of understanding, hey, this happened, I don't like how this made me feel, I don't want to feel like that again, and I immediately get rid of that or don't allow that person in my life again. I want to get back to that stable place. And so I think this is just the domestic violence stuff is very serious, but I also think it ties into people being young and people not really understanding how much patterns play a role in everything that happens in your life. If you are constantly stuck in this unhealthy, toxic, and unstable environment and cycle, it really colors how you see everything. And it's not until you get to that stable place of being secure in yourself, of being happy, and of having respect for yourself and other people that you realize how bad something is when it actually happens. So I think that is a thing that is at play here, and I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. A lot of stuff happening here with domestic violence, 2 kind of high profile people. We have camera footage. I'm actually really glad that people have so many cameras everywhere. Yeah, we don't necessarily like being watched all of the time, but when you have stuff like this happening and you're able to clearly catch it on camera, it makes it very hard for people to lie or deny what happened, because I hate it when it's he said, she said, because then you never really know what happened and you're kind of stuck trying to figure out what you think happened based on the two different sides. And so I am glad that there's the body cam footage of her talking to the cop. There's the camera from the airport that caught what happened. Like, can you imagine if none of this was on camera and we just heard about the conversation with the cop on the body cam? If that was all we knew about the situation, we would have believed her because she's saying, hey, he's the problem, he caused all of this, whatever, and we wouldn't have had that video footage of what happened before. And so I am grateful that they are holding her accountable, and I think more should be done to hold her accountable. I think at this time Nike is still supporting her. I don't know if they're going to post support based on the public reaction, but I do think that, one, yes, you should be charged, you should have to go to court and all of that stuff, but I don't think that businesses should be still supporting her and saying that this is okay, because if she was a man in this situation, she would have lost everything by now. She would have had to make a very different public apology video than what she did here. And so I really think that more needs to be done to take accountability for what happened in the situation. So yeah, I just wanted to come on, make this video, share my thoughts when I was in a better state to talk about everything and wasn't reacting so emotionally to what I saw in the videos. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.